Hey,
The
welcome back.
colors
Let's
you're
get
gonna need
started on this cute strawberry plant.
for the flowers, you're gonna need white, and you're gonna need like a marigold or sun gold color. This is all I have left from that yarn, so I do apologize. I got it at Hobby Lobby. It's the color sun gold, and it's that big crafter's secret or crafter's choice yarn, white yarn. This is the Pound of Love from Michael's, Joann's. This green, this is from the Dollar Tree. It's a premier yarn. I am sorry, I do not know the color, but it's a beautiful, beautiful kind of earthy green, very light, very sagey green, but it's very pretty. It's not pale. And for your strawberries, you are going to use that same green for the tops and a red. This is a red I got from Walmart from the Red Heart Super Saver collection. I guess that's what it would be called. I love this red. It's so soft. It doesn't feel scratchy or anything. I don't know. Maybe it was just the batch, the lot that I chose, but it's got a good feel. And that's how I made that's the color I chose for my strawberries. For the pot, I chose pumpkin spice, and this is the Pound of Love. This one I got from Joann's because they are on sale, but you can find this one or this brand at Michael's as well. So this is to give it a more of a terracotta feel to the planter. And for soil, I used a brown color. This one, I don't remember. I think it's the color coffee from Michael's. I'm not too sure. But it's a loops and threads. And if you have a coffee or brown color, it will work just as fine. So those are the colors that you're going to need. You're going to need a size number 4 hook. You're going to need a tapestry needle. I really like this kind. They're pointy, they're bent. They make a bunch of a difference when you're trying to weave in the ends. It makes it easier. Scissors and some wire. I'm going to try to use this wire. I have a lot of this. It might be too thin. I don't have anything else right now and I really want to use it. So we'll see if I use it for the leaves or if they support the weight of the flowers. So it's definitely going to be a challenge. If you have thicker weight, this is a 24 gauge. If you have thicker, better. If you have flowers that you don't use anymore, that you think are, past their prime and they're good for the trash bin, you might be able to get away with recycling the wire. And then that way you wouldn't have to leave a long tail because you don't necessarily need to wrap it if you didn't want to. But yeah, so that's what you're gonna need. And let's get started. All right, so let's start with 6 single crochets. All right, so we're gonna go from 6 to 12 and we're gonna increase by adding 2 single crochets into each of the 2 stitches. And you slip stitch and chain 1 and after every round. So now we're gonna have 1, and then on the next stitch you're going to increase, and that is 2 single crochets into that same stitch. 1, increase, and we're going to do that all around. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18. Now I have 18, slip stitch, chain 1. Now you're going to do 2 single crochets into each of the next 2 stitches, and then you're going to increase 24 stitches at the end of round 1 2 3 4. Thirteen, 14, 15, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. After 8 rounds, chain 1, and we're only going to be working single crochets in the back loop only. For the next round, just slip stitch on that top single crochet and keep working a few rounds. So that's what's going to make the base stand up and just stay flat. So from here on, we're just going to simply work single crochets all around on both loops, and that's it. And I'll let you know how many I do. I'm working on this pattern and I'm essentially creating it as I go. All right, so now I've done 13 rounds up here. Now I'm going to go in the front. I think I'm going to do 2 more rounds and see how thick that is, and if I like it, if the proportions are right with the rest. I think it's okay. Or should I add another row? I could probably add another row and just make it, yeah, 1 more row maybe. All right, so this is how it looks like with 4 rounds, and I think I like this a little bit better. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a tail and weave it in. So for this next part, we're going to make the flowers, and if you can see, it has 2 parts, the back and the front. So what I'm going to work with you is on a small flower. So this is how you work the yellow part. You chain 2 and it doesn't count, and you do 8 double crochets. I know my hands look a little different, the lighting is a little different, it's the next day. I do apologize, I didn't get to finish my entire tutorial in one go. And that's how most of the tutorials usually go. They'll be filmed in a span of a couple of days. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, one more, 8. You're gonna pull and you're gonna slip stitch on that very first double crochet. Now, if you were doing the front of the daisy, that would be it. You would be done. Simply cut off and weave in the ends. Now, there's 2 sizes. For the little one, you're going to do an extra round of single crochets and you're just going to double it. So instead of having 8 single crochets, your count for the second round is going to be 16 single crochets. For this one, your count is 10 double crochets. So then you're going to have a total of 20 single crochets. And that's just so that you're able to sew them with the petals and the chains that are in between the petals. And I will work with you on the petals in a little bit, but let me just get the backs done. So we're going to chain 1. You're going to start, both of the sizes are started at the same way. Chain 1, and for every double crochet, you're adding an increase or 2 single crochets. That way you'll have that count. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So then we're just going to slip stitch at that very first single crochet. So now we're going to leave a very long tail. because this is what we're going to wrap our wire in. So I would say, I don't know, maybe 18 inches just to be on the safe side, because we're also going to have to sew this onto the flower. So now what you have to do is weave this end in and set it aside until you're done with your flower. So that's how you do this back portion and the middle portion. So now I'm going to show you how to do the petals. We're going to start right. We're going to chain 3, stitch. We are going to put 4 double crochets. You're going to take out your hook and you're going to go into that 3rd chain, and you're going to go from the back. You're going to pull that loop through that 3rd chain, and you're going to chain 1. And now you're going to go into this next stitch and you're going to do the same thing, 5 double crochets. You're going to go into this very first double crochet of that cluster. You're going to pull your loop through the back. You're going to chain 1. We're at the end of our row, or we're going to slip stitch on that 3rd chain. Now just cut a tail and weave it in. And I'll show you how to sew these 2 parts together. Each one of these stitches has a matching stitch over here, because even though we have 8 petals, we chained 1, so we should be able to go around. So I'm just going to start here at a peak. You can start wherever. Next one.
Okay, so like I said, as I was working on this pattern and I was creating it, I was actually recording the tutorial. Now, going back and learning from my mistakes, I could definitely, like, while it came out pretty, I would definitely use a thicker wire for the flowers. That thin wire is perfectly fine for the strawberries, but for the flowers, if you don't want to struggle like I did, I would definitely use a thicker wire. And at this point, you would have to hook it or try to attach it to the green portion before you sew the flower together.
To finish off, I just simply went here and in between the spaces and try to come out here in the middle. Just make sure you come out in the middle. And there's the flower, because we're going to put a wire here and then we're going to wrap this up. So it'll be like this. So now I'm going to do the back of this big flower, and it's 10 double crochets and then 20 single crochets for the second round. And yeah, that's it. So let me finish that, and I guess I'll show you how to do, and then I'll show you how to do the strawberries. To do the strawberries, we're going to do a magic circle, and we're going to put 5 single crochets into the ring. For the second round, you're going to increase. We're now going to do rounds 3 and 4 by simply doing 1 stitch into each of the stitches that we already have. So our count for round 3 and 4 should be 10. So for round number 5, you're going to do 2 single crochets onto that first stitch, 1 single crochet, an increase, meaning 2 single crochets on the next one, and you're going to follow that pattern all around. So at the end, your count should be 15. For round number 6, we're simply going to do an increase on that first stitch. 1, 2, and then we're going to follow and do 14 single crochets all around. So your total count should be 16. For round number 7, we're going to do 16 stitches around. At this point, we're going to flip our strawberry and we're going to weave in this end. For round number 8, we're going to do decreases. And we're going to do 8 decreases. And for that, you grab the front loops of the 2 stitches, pull yarn through, and then you finish off with a regular single crochet. Front loop, pull your yarn. Now you have 2 loops, pull your yarn one more time, you finish a single crochet. And that's all we're going to be doing. And then your total stitch count at the end should be 8. So at this point, we're going to stuff the strawberry. For our last and final round, we are going to do 3 decreases. So now you should have a total of 5 single crochets, 5 stitches. We're going to cut a tail and we're going to weave it in. Now just make sure that it's firm, not overstuffed and not too hard, but just firm enough. Let's do the top. We're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to slip stitch onto this very first stitch or chain, sorry. We're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to slip stitch right here on that very same chain that we just came out of. That's going to be our center, and that's where we're going to be chaining, slip stitching. 3, 4, 5. Slip stitch back in there, and you should have 5 little leaves. You need to leave a big tail because you're going to use that to sew in all of these little points into the actual strawberry. Before you start, make sure you weave in this end just to secure it in here. The way I like to do this is, now that it's coming out of the middle, I'll put my needle in and I'll just look for the center and just kind of pick a strand in the middle, pull it through just to hold it in place. And just go back in here one more time into the center. Try to get the center. Go back in here and just make sure it comes out on the other end. And that's it. I'll cut this off later. I just need it to be in place before I can start sewing the points together. So I think what I'm just going to do is get one strand, go back in here. Okay, now for the assembly. What I ended up doing was getting this very, very thin wire and just doing it a 4-ply. Maybe this will help a little bit. We'll see how it goes. If not, then I'll just have to go down to the store. I didn't want to do that because I didn't have time to do that, but here we are. All right, let's see. All right. All right, guys, so now I am comfortable and confident in what I have. This is how it looks on the other side. I've already stuffed the little pot. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a really, really long tail just so that I have enough to sew all around and to weave in the tail so that it doesn't come undone. So what we're going to do is just make sure that it's stuffed in here. If you need to do less stuffing, feel free. And as you are getting closer, you can stuff it in. Pick a spot and try to make sure to get all these stitches to align.
All right, so this is the final product, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I did experiment a little bit in the placement on the flowers, but I didn't like it as much. I finally settled with just putting them in the middle and having the strawberries come out on the side. This pattern is definitely customizable. If you wanted to make a bigger pot, you would have just done more single crochets. If you wanted a taller pot, you would have just added a few more rows. If you wanted more flowers, you would have just done more flowers or done more strawberries. I think this is a really cute pot. This is the perfect size for like a desk or for just like a cute little display. But yeah, if you like this video, if you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to leave a like. And if you really like it here, you can always subscribe. It's free. Thank you. Bye.